And this field is a perfect example of why I want to get rid of those cedar trees. Look at this. Ridiculous. Well, what's up, guys? It's Daniel from Arms Family Homestead, and winter is still upon us. I can see my breath. It's hanging. Temperature's been hanging in the mid-20s for the last couple days, and freezing rain and sleet, which we don't have a lot on the ground right now, but it's like we just keep barely missing these freezing rains. So school's been out for like today's day 3, I guess, and there's just not a lot going on. But DJ ran a big sale on her t-shirts, on all of our t-shirts for the last several days, and she filled about 150, maybe, well, actually over 200 total orders in the last couple days, but they haven't been shipped out yet. I apologize, but we've had icy roads and we just haven't left. So I'm gonna try to get to town and drop off all those packages at the post office. I'll probably run over to Mill Creek and check that property out and do a little work there. I haven't been there in almost a week. And then I think Houston and I are gonna burn a few brush piles later. Just got to do something. We've been sitting around the house doing nothing for multiple days. Just kind of waiting on the storms to pass that really haven't hit. And then another thing, the National Farm Machinery Show is coming up mid-February. We're going to actually be there with TYM tractors. I think we're going to do a meet and greet on February 16th. That's a Thursday. Don't have the time set in stone yet, but probably early afternoon. I told them maybe right after lunch or something like that. So National Farm Machinery Show, Louisville, Kentucky. If you're in the area, we'd love to see you. Come by and see us at the TYM tractor booth. Anyways, yeah, let's get this day started and do something. I don't sit around and do nothing very well, and the last couple days have been a whole lot of nothing. So I gotta do something today. Excuse me, ladies. Coming in. Break some ice for you. Oh, that one leaked out underneath the ice. That tub busted. Did you know that, Phoebe? Good morning, Phoebe. I haven't put any feed in there yet. I'm sorry. No, y'all can eat on your hay bale this morning. I'll feed you later, okay? I did bust your ice. You got fresh water now. Everybody's handling the cold just fine, it looks like. You're looking thick, girl. Hey, little goat. I have a question. Why is one horn growing so much faster than the other? Can you tell me? You got one horn that's pretty long and one that's a nub, buddy. What's the deal? Are you going to be goofy like that? Everybody else's horns are coming in evenly. I mean, you're a big, thick, strong-looking guy. Okay. Hey, listen, you're only a month and a half old? You can't be doing that. Okay? Well, no, I guess you're 2 months old. What are you doing? Are your babies hiding under there? Are you guarding your babies? Let's see. Well, you're guarding. Yep. Both of your babies are under there. You're a good mama. You know that? You're a good mama. Don't get up. So one thing I did yesterday that I don't typically do is I came out and I actually dumped the hay bale out of my round bale feeder, and it's just sitting on the ground. And the reason I don't typically do that is because goats are notoriously horrible hay wasters, as you can see on the ground. But we were down to, I would say, probably a third of the bale, and the baby goats just didn't seem like they were able to get enough hay out of there. Obviously it's elevated off the ground, probably a little too far for them. And what I'll usually do is just come out and flake some hay off the top and throw it on the ground for them. That's what she's eating on right there. But with our extreme weather conditions coming in, well, it's been here for a couple days, but they keep calling for freezing rain, freezing rain, freezing rain. I wanted to make sure everybody had as much access to hay as they possibly could. You missed. You almost made it up there. Try again. That's the thing about goats, is they don't just like to eat from the bottom. They want to get on the top and pee and poop on their hay. But this way I can at least every day come out here and just flip that over and unroll it a little bit and spread out the wasted hay some, but at least they can get access to all the good parts of the hay, because goats will come out here and they'll eat the good part and leave the weeds, leave the parts they don't like, and it builds up underneath there sometimes. When cows were eating out of it, it wasn't an issue because they pull so much out. There's constantly fresh hay falling down, but goats are good at sticking their head in and getting exactly what they want and leaving what they don't, and the babies were just not getting much hay out of it. So anyways, everybody's good for the morning. I'm gonna go drop off packages and I think pick up Jacoby, because he's been out of school too and nothing to do. The boys are just bored, so we'll pick up Jacoby and then probably bring them back to the house and let them hang out, and then I'm gonna go to Mill Creek and do some work today. Are you sitting over here driving the boys wild? That's not very nice of you to back up to the fence and pester those poor guys like that. You know that? Well, I figure temperature's in the 20s. Skid steer needs to warm up for a good 10, 15 minutes at least, right? And it was 30 degrees in the cabin when I got here, so I might as well turn on the heater and make my obligatory cup of coffee. Not gonna see much wildlife with the skid steer running out there, but I mean, might as well warm up while we wait on the cab to warm up. I mean the hydraulics to warm up. That's good. Turn this puppy towards actually warming me up. Whew, it's chilly in this cabin. If I knew for sure that the kids were going to be out of school tomorrow, me and Houston and Jacoby might come over here and stay the night. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how the weather holds up. They didn't have school today and the roads are perfectly clear, but in Oklahoma, we kind of have to worry about those freezing rains. If it was snow, you know, a little bit of snow is not too much of a problem, but freezing rain just makes it too dangerous for everybody on the road, so they called school. And maybe they'll cancel it tomorrow. We can come stay the night at the cabin. I mean, if it's safe to be on the roads. The good thing is we can hit dirt roads and back road here all the way. No matter how much ice there is on the roads, on those gravel roads, you can get traction on a gravel road. All right, much better. Nice and toasty. Got the hydraulics all warmed up. I mean the cab. I mean the hydraulics. Oh yeah. All right, let's get to work. So this is just one of those jobs you take a little at a time. Cutting cedar trees off a big property like this is not something I plan on doing all in a day, a week, a month, crap, even a year. But there's a lot of confusion, I think, with people when I say we're going to cut down all the cedar trees. We have eastern red cedar, which are technically a juniper tree, and they literally take over. They'll just grow in by the thousands. And a lot of people have shamed me for cutting them down, because why not cut the logs and use them and mill them up and make lumber and make cedar chests and line your closets and all that stuff. It's just, I'm cutting down all the small, immature trees, not cutting down anything big that you could even mill, at least with this machine. We may come back and cut some of the big ones later. But the second thing is a lot of people say, well, you could cut all those down and the goats would eat those needles on them in the wintertime. And the goats will eat the needles off the cedar tree. They'll clean them up in the wintertime if that's all they have to eat. But we're 15 miles from the goats. And the goats can't come over here because it's not fenced off to hold goats. So the main thing is we're going to cut down as many cedar trees as we can to clean this property up. And the goal is to do a big controlled burn and burn a bunch of them after we cut them down. I'm not stacking them right now. I'm going to have to put a grapple on the front of this machine and come back and stack a bunch. But right now we're just cutting down what we can. Cedar trees take up a lot of groundwater. They soak up a ton of water. They basically don't allow anything else to grow underneath them. They'll take the soil and just make it barren. And it's just, you got to get rid of them. See, now this is a prime 100% perfect example. Look, there's literally 50 cedar trees in that little clump right there. I mean, there's tree after tree after tree, and they literally just take over and don't let anything else grow. I'm not going to work on this stretch. This is an area that basically shelters the cabin from the nearest roadway. It's a visual block, so I'm going to leave a lot of those in this stretch. But there's some places around the property we're going to take out just about every cedar we can. Well, the battery on my little diverter valve went dead on the mini clip. It's a really cool little tool, and it does a lot of work, but that diverter to switch the hydraulic controls from the shear to pivot runs off a little 12-volt battery, and with it being in the 20s, that battery's just not going to hold a charge for too long. So luckily we've got some off-grid power here at the cabin, so I plugged in a little trickle charger, and I guess I'm going to go home and see if I can light some brush piles on fire. We've got almost zero wind today and very little wind forecast for tomorrow. A little bit of moisture on the ground, and well, they keep calling for more snow, sleet, freezing rain since 8 o'clock this morning. I haven't seen any yet, but it's supposed to. And most of the brush piles are ones that we pushed up last year in the timber at the house. I had my cousin come in with a bulldozer and clean up a bunch of stuff for us, so there's not a lot of tall grass around most of the brush piles. So I'm going to burn ones that are kind of safe, in a safe spot next to the creek, kind of cleaned out and cleared around them already. So let's see if we can get them to burn. Okay, so I'm headed home, and this field is a perfect example of why I want to get rid of those cedar trees. Look at this. Ridiculous. Like, it used to be a wide open hayfield not too many years ago. Not too many years ago. Now look at it. Completely covered in small cedar trees. Give it another 5 or 6 years and you won't even be able to walk across that field. Crazy. We're gonna try to start these brush piles without having to use diesel and, you know, oil and stuff. So we're gonna try with propane first. Well, I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but we're starting to get a little precipitation. It's about 30 degrees, and it's not exactly freezing on contact, but it's definitely freezing rain. When we drop 1 or 2 more degrees, and roads are going to get bad in a hurry. Not having the greatest success getting brush piles to burn, but I've got several started. They're burning okay, but with high humidity and no wind, you know, it's hard to get those brush piles to take off, and really not wanting to throw a bunch of diesel on them. So I'm gonna go up to the house for a few minutes, finish the rest of my chores, and then check on these brush piles again before it gets dark. That one's definitely gonna go. It'll burn all night for sure. This one, not so much. Some of them want to burn and some don't. That one looks like it's going well. Some of these brush piles are going to burn for days. Literally, I mean, maybe even weeks, because what I'll do is bring the tractor over here a little at a time and just restack and keep burning. So it'll all burn eventually. I'll just sit here for a minute, absorb some of that heat. Sure feels good. Well, it's a little bit less than impressive, I guess. They're definitely not just blowing up and burning. Well, I've done too good a job over the years of keeping the cedar trees cut out of my property, because there's no cedars that got pushed in these piles. If we had just a few cedar trees, they would just blow up and burn really hot really fast. But I don't want them burning slow, a little bit easier to control, and don't have to worry about it getting out. And obviously with the weather conditions and a little bit of spit and rain, it's not going to go anywhere. So I guess we'll check back in the morning and see how they're doing. We burnt the middle out of that one at least. Well, it's the next day, and a couple of our brush piles have burned pretty well. Most of them have kind of burned out, but I do see a lot of smoke coming from one. It's actually about 12 o'clock right now. I came over at 8 this morning, and there really wasn't a whole lot of much at all going on. Like, that one's about burned out completely, but I see one burning pretty good. This one tried to burn up, burnt a lot of the big logs in the end of it, but it just didn't carry into that lighter stuff. I just think they weren't really packed tight enough, but this one up here is not having a problem burning. This one's actually doing really, really well. When I came over this morning, it had burned out basically this area right here. There's still smoking, but none of that had burned overnight. So this one's gonna do really well. All right, well, this big brush pile didn't do anything. I tried 4 or 5 different places to get it to burn, and no luck at all whatsoever. But that's just part of it, I guess. And we lucked out. Temperatures kind of hovered right around freezing, and we got a little bit of freezing rain last night, but not enough to cause an ice storm and really cause too many problems. And it's kind of been hit or miss this morning, but we're hovering at like 32 to 34 degrees, so no ice storm. We've got lucky there. I hate ice storms. They just wreck the trees, they wreck the power lines, and obviously cause a lot of accidents on the roads. But I think I'm gonna see what some of these brush piles will do. I'll probably go put the grapple on the tractor and repile some of those that have burnt, and then some of them may need a little liquid encouragement. I'd really like to get these burned while we've got a little bit of moisture on the ground, very little wind, so may do that later this evening, I don't know. But anyways, guys, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. You guys have a great day, and as always, we'll see you on the next video.